Okay, standing up tall. Let's just tuck the tail under, soften the knees. Let's lengthen through the back of the neck. And then let's roll the shoulders up, back and down. Let's connect that with a breath. Inhale up, exhale back and down. And inhale up, exhale back and down. Let's take the hands on the shoulders. Good. Drawing a circle with the elbow, opening the chest. And one more. Dropping the left arm, right arm up, back and down. Can you start to turn your head and open your chest? So we start to get a small rotation through the spine. Hips are relaxed so they can go or not go. It's just going to depend on the flexibility of the back. And then change arms, please. Up, back and down, turning the head, opening the chest. 2 more. And 1 more. Good, gripping the pelvis, softening the knees, moving through pelvic tilt. Drawing the belly button towards the backbone, softening down the tailbone. Our knees are relaxed to help with that tuck. Feel the pelvis rocking, but keep the upper back completely still, focusing on lumbar spine, hips and pelvis. 1 more time. And then just bringing that pelvis into neutral, your own personal neutral. Keeping the knees soft. Switch on the glutes now for waist bend. Down we go. So down on one side, up on the other. Releasing the waist. Stretching into the lats. And the obliques there. And mobilizing the lower back. So lateral flexion. Reach to the skirting board with the lower arm. Breathing in to lengthen, breathing out to come back. Good. So let's have a couple more of those slowly. So last one. And then come on up and just release the spine, the hips, and the feet. Good. Let's have a look at switching on the balance. Feet parallel. Heels stay down for now. Just sway the weight forward and then pick the toes up as you sway back. If all of that feels okay, start to lift the heels and go higher with the arms. If you need to leave your heels on the floor, that's fine. Just transfer the weight forward and back. Can you just bring your arms to chest height and hold with the heels up? Foot pedals. Drop one heel, push the other one forward. Come on up and change. And then bring in the arms, opposite arm to leg, so that natural walking mechanism if you can. Now, if the foot pedals hurt through any of the joints, hips, knees or ankles, go back to the double heel raise, please. Think about your hips being level as you're doing this, so not hitching. Good morning, Bev.
Morning.
Couple more there. And relax. Give your legs a shake. Feet slightly wider. Shoulder width. Arms across the chest. Take a breath in. Breathe out. Rotate to the right front corner. And come center. And so now with the feet wider, we want to try not to move the pelvis unless you have pelvic pain. So draw the belly button in, squeeze into the glutes. One more. Good. Guys, extend your arms, palms to the ground, shoulder height. So we're going to row. Draw the scapula in, turn the head. Reach forward. So this is a little bit like your bow and arrow, but we've got the shoulder at a different angle. Try not to let your shoulders creep up. Give me a nice long neck. And again, if this is giving you any joint pain through the shoulders, drop your arms and do a low bow and arrow, please. Finish with one to the left. And drop the arms. Good, release. So let's have a look at a double balance. So feet apart, step forward just a small amount on your right foot if you can. Not calf stretch, just a split stance. Pull the tummy in. Can you rise up onto your toes from here and balance? And then come down, transfer your weight to your heels and just lift your toes up. So swaying forward. If you need to do this with your feet side by side, that's okay. Just challenging the balance a little bit more with the split stance. Can you lift onto the heel of the front foot? Yeah, so we're lifting the toes and the whole foot at the front. So we get calf stretch. Nice click through my ankles there. One more time. And relax. Give those legs a shake. Change, split stance again. So your heel is about level with your toe, not too wide. Neutral pelvis. Guys, if it feels okay to go all the way up with the arms, you can go all the way up. That will make you a bit more wobbly. Pick the toes up, pick the whole foot up at the front if you can. And the same theory applies. So when you rise, you still don't want to be sickling through the ankle. So still pushing the big toe into the floor. Inhaling up and exhaling down and back. Two to go. Last one. And come down. Give those legs a shake. Good. Okay, let's look at a hip hinge. Hands behind the back, chest open. Feet shoulder width, knees soft. Engage the abdominals. Make sure you're not bending from the waist. Come from the hips, so lengthening the spine as the hip moves. And your hips might well be stiff at this point, so we start just with a small range of movement. If your hips are not stiff, then you can go lower. Good. So we're feeling the hamstrings lengthen. So the hamstrings are lengthening on the way down. The muscles of the lower back are working quite hard to maintain the neutral spine. We're squeezing the glutes to come back up. So although your spine is not changing shape, all the muscles in the back are stabilizing your spine as you hitch. Hitch, hinge. One last time. Now, if you're feeling strong enough to maintain that spine, hold. Looking down, long neck at the back, pulling the belly button in. Let's take a breath in As you breathe out, squeeze the muscles in your bottom and come on up. Let's release the arms and squat. Small hip hinge, sit back to squat, float the arms, thumbs on top, coming back up to neutral. Breathing in on the way down, breathing out on the way up. Keeping that moving, please. Let's float one heel if we can. So the reason we're floating the heel is that it's going to challenge the pelvic stability. If you have lower back pain or hip pain, you might need to just keep your heel down, and that's fine. Feel that the weight remains even through both sides, even though that heel is raising. Couple more. And last one. Come on up and release. Good. Feet closer together, pelvis in neutral, coming into the waist, fingers to temples. Really lift up out of your rib cage. Come across to the right corner of the ceiling, inhale. Exhale, come up. Now I want you to squeeze the glutes. Don't want any movement through the pelvis, so use those big strong glute muscles to stabilize. Pull the tummy in, breathing in to bend, breathing out to come up. That feeling of lengthening rather than sort of sagging into it, so rib cage stays lifted. So we're going to finish with one to the left. So when you've done your last one to the left, you can drop your arms and release. Good. Let's pick up our band now. Let's have a look at waiter. So feet can be side by side, or you can come into tightrope or tandem. Shoulders down and back. Take a breath in, tail is tucked, breathe out and pull on the band. And release. So we want the elbows to stay tucked in. We want the rotation to be coming through the shoulders, round into the muscles of the upper back. Now you can make this a bit more challenging by rotating and then pressing. Now depending on the strength of your band, you're going to need to possibly release your hands a bit more. So if you want to keep your elbows tucked in, that's fine. And relax, release the shoulders, change the feet if you can, change so the palms are facing the back, into full rotation, round we go. So starting off loose, seeing how the shoulders feel, bringing the pelvis into neutral, pulling the tummy in. Now feel that the weight is even from the front to the back foot as you work. And then if all that feels okay, bring your hands a little bit closer to each other. So starting to challenge the strength. Two more here. Breathing steadily as we go. Coming into my last one. And relax. Brilliant. get rid of your band. And let's come to our roll down. So find yourself a suitable space, have your feet parallel, have your pelvis in neutral. Make sure you release your spine one section at a time. Inhale up, guys. Looking up if you can. Exhale down. Nod your chin, round your shoulders, and just hanging below the shoulder blades there. Breathe in. Breathe out on curl. Let's go again. Extend through the shoulders, the neck and the spine if you can. Come down, exhale. Nod your chin, round and roll. Go to the bottom of the shoulder blades and then continue down the ribs. Hands are about knee height. Give your arms a sway. Breathe in. Breathe out on curl. Inhaling up, exhaling down, nodding, rounding and rolling slowly. So we're going lower, but we're still getting there slowly. Hands are either shin or ankle height, but arms are loose. Can we give them a sway? Uncurl slowly, squeeze the glutes, pull the belly button in. If that's feeling good, stay with it. If you're feeling confident to put some weight in your hands, then next time we'll put some weight in the hands. So you need to bend your knees quite deeply to get weight into the palms. You need to drop your head and look through your legs. Still let everything relax. Breathing slowly here, either roll back up or walk forward if you are ready to come into downward dog. And if you're in downward dog, you're going to have a couple of breaths here. Give it a chance to stretch the shoulders and the hamstrings. And then you are going to come forward into plank, holding your plank for a couple of breaths on your toes or your knees. Moving into press up on the knees or the toes. Coming back through downward dog and walking back up. So please continue in your own time, moving slowly through those different ranges of movement, please. So we've got roll down, roll up. We've got downward dog to release the shoulders and the hamstrings. And then we've got that strength work, so the plank and press up if you're ready for it. If you're not ready for that, please just stay with roll down, roll up, and then you can transition to cat stretch when you've finished rolling down and up. Otherwise, can we keep moving for a couple more sequences? So you've got one more sequence to go and then you're going to transition to the floor and continue to release your spine with cat stretch. So you're going to come onto the floor once you finish that next sequence. Take your time with it. Make sure everything is released. And then you're going to need to adjust your camera and grab the rest of your equipment. So hog, ball, weights if you have them, and band. And then once you're down there, join me for cat stretch, flexion and extension. Think about your weight being even through your hands and your knees. Think about the weight not shifting, the arms not moving, all about the spine. But this time, starting from the bottom of the spine and rolling to the top. Can you come back into shell stretch? Head on the hands. Push the bottom towards the feet and just take some breaths there. Keep some weight in the arms if you need to. Coming forward. Good. Come back to the all fours position. Pull the tummy in. Guys, we're going to work on shoulder stability. I want you to keep your spine as still as possible and see if you can just lift one hand and squeeze the shoulder blade together with a bent elbow. Then bring it down. Change to the other side. Scapular retraction. Drawing the shoulder blade towards the spine. I'll show you it from this angle. Lifting and squeezing. Elbow leads the way. Elbow stays bent. Palm is facing the floor. Head is in line with the spine. Breathing out to lift and in to lower. Working those big postural muscles in the upper back. Ones that keep us nice and vertical. Get rid of any round shoulders. And so we started this on the right arm. Let's finish it on the left arm. And then again, come back and stretch. Guys, if you want to release your wrists after that, please do. Head on the hands or hands to the ankles. Just melting into the mat and taking some breaths there. Hands to the side of the knees, support the body weight, uncurl the spine. Guys, we're going to kneel on our hog now and we're going to work on strength of the hip and the mobility of the hip. So if your hips are not great or your lower back's not great, just do it kneeling on the mat. Otherwise, you're on the smooth side of your hog with your knees together. If you're on the mat, do it with your knees apart. Flat back, toes tucked under. Just my right leg slides and then mobilizing. So I'm lifting up, I'm crossing over the midline if I can. I'm lifting up and tapping out to the side. Now, if that's too much movement through your hip, you can make it a circle, clockwise and anti-clockwise. If it feels fine, you can start to make the movement bigger. But make sure that you are maintaining pelvic stability as you go. So ideally, we're making that big triangle. Alternatively, we are either just lifting and lowering, or we are doing small circle. So first goal is hip mobility. Second goal is hip strength. And third goal there is flexibility, if we can keep the pelvis still as we move. This is your last set on that leg, please. And then change. Make sure the other toe is tucked under to stabilize you. You are either lifting and lowering, or lifting and crossing the midline and then out to the side. Or you can do small circles. So the pelvis is still, the spine is still, the head is in line with the spine, and we are breathing naturally as we go. Give me a couple more on that side. And then we'll finish this all fours work with a press up. So once you've finished your last one, guys, put both knees back on the hog or the floor. And before you move on, just give your wrists a bit of a circle before you press up. And then either stay with the back flat here, so the hips are over the knees, but take your hands wide. You want to lead with your chest rather than your head. That feels very easy for me, so I'm going to walk further forward and let my hips come forward. So the choice is yours, the position you're in. Some of you might feel like you want to tuck your toes under and lift your knees off the floor. So choice is yours. Full chest press up, half press up, or box press up. Whichever one you're doing, please do it slowly. Try not to lead with the face, lead with the chest. It's harder, but it will give you the correct technique. 2 more if you can, please. Slowly does it. And then when you've finished, please come off your hog if you're on the hog. And then you can shell stretch or cat stretch. Whatever your body's telling you it needs there. You might want to release your back, you might want to release your wrists or your shoulders. So just breathing gently there. Hands to the side of the knees, supporting the weight. We uncurl. And then we come down onto the bottom. So set yourself up in the seated position now. Guys, have your equipment nearby because we are going to use it. So I'm going to bring in my weights. I'm going to get myself a head block. Taking the chi ball behind you to start. Line it up with your tailbone and then move it a little bit further back. Holding the backs of the thighs, sitting up on the bum bones. Just try a couple of pelvic tilts there. Nothing major. Just tilting the pelvis. Seeing how that feels. And then if you feel your ball is in the correct place, obviously leave it there. Otherwise, have a little adjustment. Going from the bum bones to the tailbone. Can we go shoulder stretch with hands apart or together? Pelvic tilt, bow and arrow. Good. Inhaling up. Exhaling down and back. So although we're working the abdominals, we should really feel like we're opening the lower back. And then when we rotate through the waist, working into the lats, not the lats, the obliques. 2 more. And then taking the feet wide, coming into forward flexion, breathing into the back of the rib cage. So our second set is more about strength. If you'd rather work with mobility, repeat what you've just done. Bring your feet close together again, hip width. Take 1 dumbbell. Perhaps you feel like you might be able to move your ball back a little bit more, maybe not. Push up, scoop roll, rotate 4, 3, 2, 1. Now you might be better just working much more slowly. You might be better without your weight. You may not want to do 4 rotations. That might irritate the lower back if you rotate more than once. So find the level that works for you. We should be feeling it in the muscles now, but it shouldn't be going into the joints. I'm going to do 2 more sets. You can rest anytime you need to. When you've finished, you can go back to your slump stretch, or if your hips allow, you can go cross leg forward fold. Uncurling slowly and coming onto your back with head support if you need it. So I'm going to make sure my dumbbells are either side. I'm going to take my ball away and I'm going to go with a block under my head. You might want to go with your ball, or you might be happy flat on the mat. Can you bring your knees in? Hold your shins or the back of your thighs and just get some movement into that lower back by circling or swaying or just hugging. Go the other way. And then put both feet and ankles together on the floor with bent knees. Arms come out to the side, the palms are up. Shoulder blades down as the knees drop right, making sure the ankle bones don't slide off each other. Head can turn left if everything is okay. Drawing the abdominals in to come back to center. Breathing in to drop to the left. And breathing out to come back up. I find my feet stay together better if my heels are off the floor. Just go to a position that works for you, that makes you feel like you are rotating through the spine. Let the rib cage lift. Keep the shoulders down. Let's just have one more. In either direction, please. And then once you've been to the left, come back to center. Holding the right leg front or back, sliding the left leg along the mat. Flex your left foot, push the left heel away. Draw a circle with that right ankle slowly. So all the time we're pulling on the right leg to stretch the hip as we're mobilizing the ankle. Go the other way, circle the ankle, please. And change. One in, one out, slide away. Push the heel of the straight leg and then circle the ankle of the bent leg. Go the other way. And bring both knees in, please. Single leg stretch from here. Now this can be a toe tap to the floor with a bent leg. It can be a straight leg to where the ceiling meets the wall. It can be a straight leg to the skirting board. Upper body can lift or stay down. Shoulders can rotate. You can add strength by letting go of the legs and taking the fingers to the temples. If your upper body doesn't like rotation, just take the weight of your head and neck in the center, and then head is up or down. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on, in and down. Guys, can you give me hip roll again with your feet apart this time if you can, with your feet together if that's better for you. So just rolling knees and pelvis right and left slowly. letting as much or as little of the back lift as feels right for you. Please finish this set to the left. And then come back to center. Let's pick up our weights. Let's have a look at chest fly. So feet hip width, weights pushed up. Options for the arms. Wide chest fly is more challenging. Bench press pulling from the elbows, easier if there is a shoulder issue. So arms coming wide if possible. Options for feet, leave them on the floor or bring them to tabletop. If you're in tabletop, please imprint your spine. So if you're doing this with your feet on the floor, you can lift the knee, or you can do a single leg stretch away. If your feet are off the floor, tap a bent knee or stretch a straight leg. Whichever one you're doing, there is no movement through your spine. Spine is fixed, shoulders are into the mat, drawing down on the abdominals. Two more. And next one is your last one. Everything comes in and down. Get rid of your weights. Turn the palms to the ceiling. This time let's rotate with the right foot on the left knee and the knee back. If that's uncomfortable, feet and knees are together, or perhaps put the hog or the ball between your knees to get a slightly different stretch. So if you do have your ankle on your knee, you're aiming knee to the floor on one side and toe to the floor on the other side. Let's change legs, please. Just breathing naturally as you go. Once your left big toe has been to the right for the last time, you are coming onto the side of your body facing me. You're going to put your hog under your head, just with a logo to the front. And then just make sure you've got your ball nearby for later on, so you've not got to go and locate it. Body in a nice straight line, palms together. Easier option is to bend your bottom leg underneath you. We're going to take a breath in. As we breathe out, we are going to lift one arm, one leg, if that suits you. Or we are going to put 2 feet together and do a much smaller leg lift so that the feet don't come apart. Option to lift your head and neck and really work into your waist. Breathing out as you lift up. Breathing in as you come down. Making sure your hips are stacked. Holding this last one up. Lift and hold. Scissor either just the top leg or the top and bottom leg. Straighten your knees if you can. Try not to flick from the knee unless you have to adapt it. Breathing steadily for 4, for 3, 2, and 1. Everything comes down. Draw your knees in. Top leg either hugs or drops. And so we release the back, the hip, and the glute. Pop your feet and knees together for clam. Knees are bent at about 45 degrees, so your hips are level with your bottom. Stack your shoulders, lift your bottom rib away from the mat. So keeping your bottom leg on the floor. If you can keep your feet together as you rotate, please do. If that gives you hip or back pain, lift the whole leg. That's a bit kinder on the hip. For those of you with no back issues, toes up. Bigger rotation into clam, into diamond shape there. Think about drawing up on your pelvic floor, drawing your belly button in. Hardest option. Rotate, extend, flex the foot, push the heel away. Toes come together. Knee drops. So working into the hip and the glute in whatever way feels good for you. Focus is pelvic stability. No movement through the spine. Breathing steadily as we go. And if you are doing the leg extension, you are flexing and punching the foot to avoid cramp. Last one. Everything comes down. Either just let the leg drop or push the foot to me if you can. And then you've got a bent leg hamstring stretch there. Stretching the quadricep. Heel to bottom, holding the ankle if you can, lengthening the bottom leg away and stacking the hips. If you've got a knee issue, just take the leg behind you, let it drop. And relax. Put the feet together. So now we want a ball or a block between our knees. Cushion if you're working with a cushion. Feet are still level with hips, knees are forward of hips. Stack the hips and lift the rib. Now squeezing the knees together, get a connection through the pelvic floor and the inner thighs and keep it there. Coming into rotation, open door when you're ready. Nice soft elbow, head follows hand. Holding for at least one breath, then closing up. So make sure you've got enough of your hog behind you that you don't roll off it. Head is heavy on the hog. We are squeezing the ball. Hips are still. So you want to almost push the hips forward as the upper spine rotates. So if backstroke feels good, you can start to take that arm into backstroke. So that's quite a big circle with a nice soft elbow and quite a floppy arm. Head goes with you. Now that will cause a rotation lower down the back. So if there's a back issue, you might not be able to go for that backstroke arm. So just one more of whatever option you're going for. And relax, either rolling over or coming down the other end of your mat, taking your ball with you for that final exercise, making sure your head is near the front of the hog to start, and then either stacking with straight legs or with the bottom leg underneath you. Moving on the out breath, lifting either one arm and one leg, or with your feet together, lifting smaller range. We don't want the feet or ankles to separate. And then hardest option to include the head and neck. Breathing out to lift, breathing in to lower, keeping it slow, keeping the shoulders and the hips stacked, drawing the belly button in, holding the next one up, head can be up or down, scissor one or both legs, think about pelvic stability. Breathing steadily as you go. Can that go any bigger and maintain a stable pelvis? 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on all the way down, draw your knees in. Top leg over bottom leg. You can hug or drop. Take some breath. And then pop your feet together for clamp. Ankles level with hips, so knees are bent about 45 degrees. Stacking the hips, go to whatever level you felt comfortable with before. That's either just rotating the top leg with the bottom leg on the floor. It's lifting the leg, the whole leg, if that gives you less hip or back irritation. It might be knees down, toes off the floor, into a bigger diamond shape. It might be adding the leg extension, and if you're doing that, you're flexing the foot to push away, and then you're pointing the foot to bring the toes back together. So we are then moving at the hip, the ankle and the knee. So a bit more intense. Whichever one you're doing, your focus is pelvic stability and mobility and strength through the hip. Breathing steadily, keeping the shoulders relaxed, drawing the abs in, stabilize those hips, no pelvic movement. This is our last one. Everything comes down. Take either a bent leg or half straightened leg in front of you there. Good. Stretching the glute and the hamstring if your leg is straighter. And then coming into a quadriceps stretch, so the leg needs to go behind you, and you can hold the ankle for a deeper stretch. Bottom leg straightens, pelvis tucks, knees close together. And release. Feet together. Draw the knees in, ball, cushion or block between the knees. Squeeze and stack the hips. Our palms are together. When you're ready, come into open door, rotation, eyes follow hand. At least one breath holding the stretch and then coming back. So this is the upper body rotating against the pelvis and the legs being fixed. So fix the position of the lower back, the hips and the legs. So mobility in the top part of the body, stability in the lower half of the body. Come into backstroke if you feel okay with that, otherwise stay with open door. So backstroke with a really floppy arm, getting more into the rotator cuffs of the shoulders, but requiring more stability from the lower back. So open door working more into the chest, backstroke working more into the shoulder. Last one. When you've finished, get rid of your ball, come onto your back, and then just set yourself up again. So get some head support if you need it, and have your weights nearby where you can pick them up for triceps shortly. Let's have a release first. So I'm coming down and then either knee hug with a hip circle or hip roll right and left. So your back's been in the fixed position on all of those side lying exercises. It now needs to move. So when you're ready, pop your feet on the floor, hip distance. Pick up your weights for triceps. So working the triceps, which are really important for shoulder stability and posture. So pin them down. Make sure your movement is only coming from the elbow, dumbbell to ear, either alternating right and left, or double tricep if everything is okay. Options for the legs, you can lift the opposite knee or stretch the opposite leg, or you can come to tabletop and then you can do a toe tap to the mat or a single leg stretch away. So if you're doing single tricep, opposite arm to leg. If you're doing double tricep, obviously doesn't matter which leg. So primary goal, working the tricep and stabilizing the shoulders. Secondary goal, to get some activity into the abdominals. Have a look at your elbows. Have they started to wing? If they have, squeeze them in. Pin the shoulders into the mat. Keep moving slowly. Breathing into lower and out to push. Two more, please. Take your time. When you've finished your last one, get rid of your dumbbells, please. And again, just have a release of your choice. You might feel like you want a nice long full body stretch. You might want to hug in, you might want to roll. Have a couple of different stretches there before we finish. with our hamstring stretch. So nice release, then get something under your head if you want it, and then grab your band and take it around the sole of your right foot. Pulling your elbows down to the floor, opening your chest, sliding your bottom leg away. Good. So if straightening that bottom leg is uncomfortable, please keep it bent. Pull on that right leg a little bit more if you can do so safely. That doesn't have to be with a locked knee. As long as you've got a hamstring stretch, push the back of your pelvis into the mat and then either flex and point the right foot or just flex and hold the right foot. Good. Softening the back of the right knee. Either small leg sway or small leg circle. So if you're circling clockwise and anti-clockwise, if you're swaying left and right, if your flexibility is good, you can take the bands just into one hand. And so if you're swaying, it might go from left to right, so you can get a nice big range of movement. If you're circling, you might just want to keep it in the right hand and stabilize your pelvis on the left. So your next one is your last one. And then the band comes back into two hands and we change feet, please. So pulling the elbows down, opening the chest, sliding the bottom leg away if there is no hip or back pain. Pulling the whole leg towards you with a straight or a soft knee. Making sure the bum's not lifted and the pelvis hasn't tilted. And then either pushing the heel to the ceiling and holding or flexing and pointing if that feels better. Pulling the whole leg closer and then softening the knee. Sway, small sway, small circle. Choice is yours. See how the hip feels on that side. You might not be symmetrical. If all is well, you can take the band just in one hand and create a bigger range of movement, provided you feel stable enough through the pelvis and the spine. So if you're circling, your bum and your shoulders are pinned to the floor. But if you're swaying your leg, it might be that when you come across, you lift your bum, if that feels good. If you find a particularly tight spot, stay there and hold it. Make this your last one and gradually come back to center. Then slip your foot out of the band. Can you give me, with hands on rib cage, some small pelvic tilts, either with your feet on the floor or with the soles of your feet together? Rib cage stays down. Releasing the lower back. Bum not leaving the floor, just rocking on and off the sacrum. If the soles of your feet are together, please bring your knees back up. And then can we all roll slowly onto one side and come over onto all fours. Let's tuck our toes under and come up through downward dog if we can. Any discomfort, just come up your own way. Walk your hands towards your feet slowly, then bend your knees and uncurl, using your hands for support, bringing your head up last. So once you have unrolled, stretch up, inhale, exhale, come across, stretch up, inhale, exhale, come across, and come center, arms down, shoulder release, and spine release. Good, give yourselves a clap. Thank you very much, everybody. Come on in.